What's up? Welcome in on this Thursday. A little lunchtime live for you on April 23rd. We're going to take you through a few things today. We've got action in the NBA, in the NHL. We've got some day baseball going on. Gotta love contact plays when you hit a ball right to the first baseman who's already playing in and you get hosed down to kill a rally at the plate. Thank you for nothing, Atlanta. Sorry, just venting. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show, everywhere but Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. Sign up for the newsletter, MikeAranaShow.com/links. On today's program, some headline fire, and then we'll go through some of what we saw last night in the NBA, set the table for tonight's action. Same thing in the NHL. A weird one with Edmonton and Anaheim last night. We've got three good games on the docket for this evening, and the hat trick is back. I know this is going to shock a lot of people out there. Vegas Mac went with a Carolina Hurricane for his hat trick play tonight. We'll get to that in just a little bit. If you missed last night's show, shame on you. I had to make an executive decision today, but there's our crossing streams play right there. So Mac wanted to go Joe Ryan at 5 strikeouts. It was like a minus 480. I'm not paying that kind of premium, so we did up Max by 1 strikeout. I think Mac can handle it. Nikola Jokic for a triple-double tonight, and Adrian Kempe, TJ's pick, to score a goal there. Again, that is something we do every Wednesday on the program. Try and take our 3 strengths, put them together, which usually means, well, not really many things good so far. We've got dollar dingers tomorrow, another hat trick tomorrow. I will give the man his flowers here, T. I about pissed my pants last night cleaning up animal fecus from the backyard when you said you're not going to believe who had the empty net final goal for the Flyers. It was Owen Tippett last night, which was Mac's pick. So Mac is the only one that actually hit one of the hat tricks last night. I created a new rule for the hat trick. I wanted to get your opinion on this. So I say, because we only bet $1 on the hat trick, we'll give you tonight's hat trick at the end of the show. I say every time we hit the hat trick, since the postseason takes 2 months, that we have to up the bet by $1 every time. So that's what we're going to do. So if we hit tonight, the next hat trick on tomorrow's show will be $2. Our next hat trick play will be for Tuesday night. We'll put that out on our socials on Monday. How are you, my friend? The strength of the wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf?
Yes, sir. Little Rudyard Kipling repping on the college shirt today. I'm a little bit tired, and I'm glad that I'm not Connor McDavid today.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a second. You could be Devin Booker and pissed off at the world today for decently good reason there. So we'll get into all of that stuff. If you've got something to ask, fire away. Plenty of interesting stuff going on. Again, some day baseball going on right now. Philadelphia, who couldn't buy a win. If you spotted them, the W and I right now, they are in action against the Cubbies. And are you kidding me? Okay, good. Brandon Marsh is homered, but it was in the second inning, so I already won that bet. No run first inning there. They are up 1-0 on the Cubs. 8-16 for the Phils.
The Buffalo Phillies, you know, it's going exactly as it's not supposed to go for them, and they could be in the toilet very, very soon. Thank God.
Yeah, that's good. Between them and the Mets, it's going to be an interesting follow. But I wanted to take this moment with sincerest, deepest gratitude possible. This is for the Mets. You won a baseball game last night, so now it puts it square on the Phillies with their 8-game losing streak in a row. The Mets and Phillies combined in their last 10 games are 2-18.
Brutal.
The Braves at the top of the division knotted with the Nats right now. I would really prefer that game got to 9 runs. Not a whole lot of baseball today, but we'll keep you posted. Detroit's up 3-1 on Milwaukee. That game is in the bottom of the sixth. We've got San Diego, Colorado, Chicago, the White Sox, and Arizona coming up. Dodgers and Giants as the Giants look for a sweep of the Dodgers. I don't know.
Your Giants are scoring runs.
Well, let's calm down here. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Patrick Bailey, who literally can't hit his way out of a wet paper bag if you dropped said wet paper bag in the ocean, hits the 3-run homer for the Giants last night to get the victory. Giants now 11-16, a chance to sweep the Dodgers. It's still crazy, and this stat blows my friggin' mind. And of course, I'm going to talk about it, and I don't have it up in front of me, but most people have seen it by this point. Entering this season's matchup, the Giants-Dodgers, exactly 500 against each other in the history of their rivalry against each other. So now the Giants have a 2-game lead over the Dodgers all time, which clearly shows that they're the superior franchise. Let's get into some headlines here.
The Dodgers are a poverty franchise, just a poverty franchise.
Break it up, man. That thing's not working in LA. Let's stay with baseball real quick, though. The Mets host the Rockies this weekend, coming off of a victory yesterday. Vibes are high in Queens. They play again tonight against the Twins. We've already told you Max played. Joe Ryan's strikeouts tonight. But the Mets host the Rockies this weekend, and what will it take for my prediction to come true on Monday? What has to happen in the Mets-Rockies series for Carlos Mendoza to get fired, because we are officially starting shit can watch on the Mets manager?
I think if they lose 2 out of 3, he's out. I really do. And the Rockies are a better team than they were last year, and they've been playing decent baseball. But if they go and the Mets lay an egg at home, they're done. He's done. I got a name for you, though.
Oh, are you gonna drop his replacement on me?
It's a guy who was talked about for that job before and briefly had it, but never managed a game. What about Carlos Beltran coming down from the front office?
I mean, if we're going to make a move in season like that, I think that's the obvious there. And a lot of teams have that kind of set up in their front offices for that very reason. I don't really know, outside of maybe a minor league coach that we're not thinking of, and I think that would be absolutely like pouring freaking lighter fluid on a freaking brush fire. But I think it makes a lot of sense. He's already there. He's a guy that's going to be able to connect with a lot of the players on that friggin' team. And you know, whether it's Mendoza's fault or not, it typically isn't, but there has to be a fall guy. This weekend, it'll be Michael Lorenzen and Freddie Peralta on Friday. Then we'll go to Jose Quintana and Kodai Senga on Saturday, and Sunday's matchup to wrap up that series, which could be the last day for Carlos Mendoza. Undecided. Mac's favorite pitcher, Tubada, against Nolan McLean. So, interesting series there. Like you said, Colorado is definitely playing better baseball than they did last year. There are still miles and miles to go for the Rockies, but they are definitely, much like the White Sox, they're a little bit more fun to watch this year, and they're a lot more competitive than they have been. So Mendoza Watch has officially started on the program. What do you got for me?
Well, we got 2 Mendoza Watches going right now at the same time. How do you like that? Let's go basketball. The Knicks completely, they went Knicks the other night in the fourth quarter. Is it a must-win tonight for New York in Atlanta?
I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with that connotation at this time of year. I mean, I still think the Knicks could fall down 2-1 in the series and beat Atlanta. I still don't think Atlanta's very good, but New York's going to absolutely have to get something better outside of guys named Jalen Brunson. I mean, yes, and that's what it comes down to for me. Like, Josh Hart's probably a guy I'm going to bet a triple-double for tonight, because he seemingly is always right there. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at the box score from the other night, and they got 13 off the bench from Mitchell Robinson. They got 7 from Jordan Clarkson. In combined 32 minutes from Deuce McBride, Jose Alvarado, and Landry Shamet, they got a total of 0 for 7 in 32 minutes. That's not going to get the job done. We know the Knicks starters can do all kinds of everything, but you're playing a team in Atlanta that actually does have some depth to their bench and some guys that do contribute on their bench. And I hate to single the guy out because he does a lot of the little things, but OG Anunoby has not had a good season start to finish for the Knicks. So I wouldn't say it's a must win, if you will, which sounds crazy in a first to four kind of format, but I could see the Knicks losing tonight and basically closing out the sweep on the reverse end after losing tonight too, because I don't think against Atlanta, New York's going to be out of the series quite yet.
See, I'm looking at the opposite way. I could see them losing tonight, and then just the bottom just falls out of this team, and it's just based on. I mean, we know they've had a little bit of playoff success before, but it seems like when they get into, I mean, like last season, they had a perfect path to get their shot at the title, and they blew it. And so I would hate to see that happen because of my friends who like the Knicks, but I could see them losing this one and then just cashing out, hitting the gold club and calling it a series.
In the Gold Club. There's always time for a good Gold Club reference. All right, let's go through the draft tonight. Obviously, if you don't know by now, that means you haven't watched ESPN for the last 96 hours because they've been forcing it down your throats. I think it's going to be an incredible scene tonight. I do like watching the draft. It used to be a lot cooler because you were seeing guys come up and it completely changed their lives. It was making people millionaires overnight. Now most of these guys that we're going to see picked tonight are already millionaires, but it's still cool to see the raw emotions of some of these guys when they get up there and their childhood dreams get realized and they get drafted into the NFL. I think we're going to see a lot of trades. That's still the going rumor here. I think there's a lot of depth at positions that there isn't really a ton of depth typically in the draft. So I think tonight we could see some decent movement. I think where that movement starts is at the third pick with the Arizona Cardinals, and we're looking at a couple of different things here. There's been a lot of smoke to Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals. There's a lot of people that think that the Cardinals could trade themselves out of that number 3 pick. The rumor from the start was they were going to go offensive line, road grader, ass kicker, and that's Francis Maui Noah of Miami, not a character in Moana, just in case you were wondering there. What do you do if you're the Arizona Cardinals at number 3? Because if the best player on your board, at least depending on which tea leaves and smoke screens you're reading, if the best player on your board is Jeremiah Love, you take him. But everybody that thinks they're a draft expert and everybody that's going to put out grades after tonight's done and blah, 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 before we've seen any of these guys play a down on the field, is going to go, well, you can't take a running back that high. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. If he's the best player on your board, that's what you do. If you're the Cardinals and you're looking at Maui Noah, you're looking at Jeremiah Love, or a trade back later in the first round, what do you do at number 3 with a million holes to plug?
Yeah, that's a tough call because offensive line is obviously very important for. I mean, you've got to hope that James Conner's coming back next year, fully healthy, but you need someone to block for him. I think I go Jeremiah Love, and I go with Jeremiah Love because I think he is a very versatile back. You could use him as another receiver. You could put him in for pass protection if you need to, but he's a guy that's going to do a lot of things, and he can plug up a lot of holes in the short term while you fill them in later. I think he's a can't miss guy, and I think you got to go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is there's people also plugging Love to the Giants, which would be one hell of a backfield between Jeremiah Love and Cam Scatterbo. But I agree with kind of Mac's take on the Giants this morning that we put out on our social channels at Mike Arana Show. He thinks if you're the Giants, you go wide receiver and you go DB. So he's looking at the Sonny Styles type area for 5 and Jordan Tyson for 10. I actually think that might be in reverse order tonight because I think if you're hoping for Jordan Tyson to fall to 10, I don't think he gets past New Orleans. Jeremiah Love, I don't think gets past Tennessee, who comes in right after Arizona at 4. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And most people would go, well, Robert Saleh is the head coach of the Titans now. He's going to want to take the best edge rusher that's left, whether it's Arvell Reese or it's David Bailey. So I think in the top 10, we're going to see a couple of trades. I think we're going to see a lot of trades over the first couple of rounds, and that part of reading between the tea leaves, I do think is fully accurate here. I also think we're going to see somebody trade back into the end of the first round, and it could be a team we were just talking about, the Arizona Cardinals, for Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. There's also Carson Beck, who's a part of this equation, whether you agree with his prospects as a pro or not. I think we could see all three of these guys go in the first round. Beck and Ty Simpson. Obviously, we know Mendoza's going one to the Raiders unless something catastrophic happens in the next 4 hours here.
Well, I mean, it's the Raiders, so you never know. But
It's true.
it it's good to be in a power position, and I think 3 is a really good power position for the Cardinals to be in. So
Yeah.
you're kind of, I mean, we talked about this year how the draft starts at 2, but maybe it actually starts at 3.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we start seeing. I would love, you know what, and you couldn't fault them if they traded back and got an extra first rounder or an extra second rounder. That's great. They're doing exactly what they need to do. They're going to fill a lot of holes. There's going to be good players at the top of the second round. You know this, so yeah, it's going to be fun to see what they do. Whoever gets Jeremiah Love, though, I think they're in for a 100% can't miss guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Your top 10 order for those of you that are wondering for tonight's draft. We've got the Raiders, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans, the Giants, the Browns, the Commanders, the Saints, the Chiefs, and the Giants. Again, the Giants' second pick there was the Cincinnati trade for Sexy Dexy. So 2 picks in the top 10 for Joe Shane and the Giants with an already improving roster and a new coach. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this season. Go for it. What do you got?
All right. So I don't know how late you stayed up last night, but the Stars and Wild went until I think almost 1 o'clock local time. Is this series living up to the hype? I mean, that game last night I thought was, until I fell asleep, was one of the best games of the year so far.
I think it absolutely has. And I think we expected that series to be physical. We expected that series to be tight. And it's been every bit all of that. Minnesota last night, the 2-0 hole they dug themselves early was obviously something that they ended up not being able to get out of in the long run. The deflection goal from Wyatt Johnston there gives the Stars the lead. And we've seen this from the Stars, and you brought this up in our group message this weekend, like how many times we've seen the Stars lose their opening game of a series, and typically the results 10 more times than not to lead to them winning a series here. Obviously, now they have the power position here. I think the Wild will bounce back in game 4, but you can't, and we talked about this, and this will be a little bit more on our social channels before Buffalo takes the ice tonight. Like, you can't start playoff games in holes like Minnesota did last night, especially at home, because the crowd was absolutely freaking jumping last night, and they were taken out of it within the first 10 minutes. And that, and in a place like Minnesota that's dying to get out of the first round against one of their most hated rivals in Dallas, you can't do that.
No, I agree with you. I think they bounce back in game 4. I think it's going to take a big effort. But I'm impressed.
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
I'm impressed. I was impressed with Matt Duchene last night. Guy seemed like he did it all for the Stars, and good for him. This is a veteran guy. He's put in his years. He's finally he bounced around a few years ago. He went to Colorado. He went to Nashville. Now he's in Dallas. He signed a long-term deal there. He's 35 years old, and looks like he's just having a time on that team. So good for Matt Duchene. It's going to be, yeah, I think this is going 7, man. I've already made my plans. It's going 7.
I hope it is, because that would be a treat to hockey fans everywhere. Let's talk a little NBA here for a second. Adam Silver has come out and said that he wouldn't mind seeing Memphis play a few games in Nashville. After he said that, everybody flipped the hell out, so he had to reaffirm the league's commitment to the Memphis market. We've heard a lot of players speaking out this year of how much they hate going to Memphis and how miserable that it is going to Memphis here. So, you can't say Seattle or Vegas, Commissioner TJ. Where would you move the Grizzlies if you were going to move them?
Back to Vancouver. I mean, I'm not sure here, because the easy answer is Nashville. But Memphis is a good basketball market. It's a historical basketball market with the success that Memphis State and now the Memphis Tigers have had in the past. It's a good market. I don't know, like, there's a lot of markets that teams are in that visiting players don't like to go to.
Mhm.
And it is what it is. So I don't know how much stock you can put in players going, well, I don't want to go to. Maybe we should ask the Memphis Grizzlies players and management what they think about playing in Memphis before we start doing this. Now, the whole playing games in Nashville is not unprecedented. When I was a little kid and I lived in Vegas, the Utah Jazz would play 6 home games in Vegas every season until about the I think about 86 or 87. And then after that, they started playing all their games in Utah. So it's not unprecedented for
Mhm.
teams to play in cities that are close by to gain exposure, expand the market, expand the fan base. I'm okay. You want to go play 2 games in Nashville every year? Fine. Let's see what they think of it. I'm totally okay with that.
Update from the nation's capital. It is now 3-2 Braves.
Getting
Second and third
closer.
with 1 out. I need to get over 9, damn it.
Where would you
Uh,
where would you put it? I can't think of a market like I'm sitting here racking my brain, and I mean, I Jacksonville. I mean, like, I really don't
oh,
know where I
God,
would
no.
put them. Baltimore? No. Like, I don't know where I would put them.
We've already got one shitty basketball team in the district. We don't need to add a second one out.
Who
That
has?
one can't find
Never
their way
mind.
out of a wet paper bag either.
I,
5-2 now. Ozzy Albies made up for his dipshit play earlier. We're getting closer.
Laramie, Wyoming. I've heard the John Morant might like that.
That's gonna open Pandora's box for me. I kind of I go back to something that Max said a couple weeks ago. We know Seattle's getting their team back, and we know that Vegas is going to get a team because it makes a whole lot of sense. There's a couple of newer proposed that look like they actually have legs, areas in Vegas to build this multifaceted arena complex. One of them with a private airstrip next to
Mhm.
it. Uh, but adding to expansion teams watering down a product that's already pretty watered down, I think, is a bad thing. I would take a look if you really wanted to get them out of that market. And Jesus, Michael Harris is on fire right now. And you wanted to get them out of that market, I would rather see them be relocated to Vegas because then we're not adding a whole nother 15 guys of watered down basketball times two. Seattle deserves to have their team back. They should have never had it taken from them in the first place, and that's a given. But I don't necessarily think when we want to add a market in Vegas and Seattle, I don't think we need to have 2 expansion teams there because you
No.
could go around the NBA. And I know no league likes to take a team completely out of an area. We know that. We've literally went through that here in Arizona with the Coyotes. But sometimes it has to happen. And, the John Morant thing kind of holds the Grizzlies hostage, which is kind of really ironic when you think about John Morant's history there. But I don't think he's going to be there. And I would rather see them take a shitty market, relocate them to Vegas, and then go forward. And most people would say, well, the flip side to that is the reason that the Knights worked out so well in Vegas compared to what the Raiders have been doing in Vegas is because the Knights were an actual expansion team. And I think that's the key for the Vegas market is you need an actual expansion team. So my theory and my thought process probably doesn't apply there, but I don't think we need to expand by 2 teams and water down the product anymore.
No, I don't think so either. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think the NBA going to Vegas is a good idea at all. I don't think they're going to realize nearly as much success as the Golden Knights have. And the Golden Knights are the standard now, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
Raiders came in and they were already an established franchise. They're just moving in. So and we've seen. I mean, you've seen when the Niners play there. That stadium is 50-50 at best. So it's we've seen the NBA do an experiment in Vegas. We saw the All-Star game there in 2007. That was a fiasco off the court. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Vegas. I think we're going in that sports are going into Vegas because it's like the sexy thing to do. I think they need to like relax a little bit. They're still building a bloody stadium for the A's that's not going to open for 2 more seasons. Let's just relax. If you want to make a plan and say, you know what, we're looking at 2031 or 2032, I'm okay with that. But let's just relax here, because you still have to remember that it is a growing market, but there is a very transient market.
Mhm.
And you're going to have a lot of fans of different teams. It's going to take a while. If you put, I don't think I don't think it's going to work.
No, and I think to finish this up here, I think the best case scenario, and we know the timing's not going to work out this way, but the best case scenario with the Vegas situation in the NBA, to me, is you let the A's come in, because this is, quote, an established team with a lot of good young offensive talent, and I would assume that they'll be able to get pitching in Las Vegas once they move there. Nobody wants to pitch in Coors Field of California right now, and I think that's understandable because you're committing career suicide at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think you let Vegas go in from a baseball standpoint, see how people take to an already established franchise with a good young core of offensive players, and you see how the market reacts to them before, if you're the NBA, and again, it's the entertainment capital of the world, and so everybody just assumes the NBA is automatically going to work. But what do we know that you have in Vegas? Good Lord.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
have
mean,
you have multiple options in Vegas. What happens, and you know
that's
this better than anybody, is in SoCal we see it a lot too. With, the Dodgers, and even the Dodgers, like, not every night is sold out unless they're giving away a Shohei Ohtani bobblehead, because you have options in Southern California.
Mhm.
You have multiple teams in Southern California, and you have other options. You can go hang out at the beach, or you can go down and watch a shitty Clippers game. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go hang out at the beach. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, the multiple options thing is the big thing for me.
Got a situation. It's 6-2 Atlanta, runners on the corners, 2 outs, top of the 7th. I'm at 8. I need to get over 9, and I need the Braves to win. I already got the homer from C.J. Abrams.
You're close. You're close.
What the hell are you swinging at, Eli White? Let's get into some NBA action here as the inning is over. So I sit 1 run short. Magic and Pistons last night, that was kind of unfolding as we were doing the show, and it took a third quarter effort and getting after their asses, according to some players on the Pistons last night. JB Bickerstaff had quite the fiery speech at halftime, and it definitely worked because they blew the doors off the Magic in the second half, outscoring the Magic 52-37 for a 98-83 win. Cade Cunningham, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists last night. And the Pistons looked a lot more like the actual Pistons last night than what we saw in Game 1 against Orlando, where they were completely sleepwalking. So they even the series, headed back to the Magic Kingdom on Saturday morning, where they'll play Game 3 from the Kia Center, 10 o'clock on the West Coast here. It was nice to see the Pistons, a team that a lot of people have high expectations, including myself, for in this postseason. I have them playing the Nuggets in the finals. Big win for the Pistons last night at the Pizza Palace.
It was nice to see them finally get, what was it, their first home playoff win in 17 or 18 years. So really good to get that streak ended. And look, I think the Pistons are a great basketball team. I think that they're a little bit young, so maybe they had the jitters. Maybe Orlando, that's the one game that they're going to get in this series. I still like Detroit to finish this out very quickly.
Yeah, I think Orlando got their game. I could see them maybe winning one of these games at home, but I think that's about all they get. Last night, the Suns actually hung around with the Thunder in the first half and then got their doors blown off of them again, and Devin Booker was not happy about it after the game. He said, "In my 11 years, I haven't called out a ref by name, but James Williams was terrible tonight through and through." After the 120-107 loss, it's bad for the sport. It's bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as WWE if they're not held responsible. It feels disrespectful. I know I haven't won a championship in this league, but I've been in it for 11 years now. To get to this point, to be treated like that, for me to even be saying something out loud, it's bad. A little bit of frustration for the Suns star last night, and part of that comes with, Devin Booker cannot be shooting the third most shots in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened last night. The Thunder did lose Jalen Williams to a re-aggravation of his hamstring injury, which is something to keep an eye on going forward. 37-9 for SGA last night, 30-6 for Dylan Brooks, but it's not the first time we've seen Devin Booker kind of have a disappearing act in the postseason, and it's definitely got to be concerning if you're a Suns fan. 23 shots for Jalen Green, 23 shots for Dylan Brooks, only 14 for Devin Booker. The Suns, if they have any prayer of any modicum of success in this series, Devin Booker has got to shoot the ball more and stop disappearing at the end of games.
Yeah, the Suns have no time for Devin Booker to not be great, especially when you're seemingly as overmatched as you are in this series. So yeah, they've got to find a way to fix that. And look, complaining to the referees about the referees is nice, but you know this, dude. That's not the reason why you lost.
No.
Not when you lose by 13 points. You lost for some other reason. I get so sick of players calling out officials when, like, play better, shoot the shots, don't disappear, and maybe you'll have a different result.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So that I believe the next game in that series is Saturday afternoon from the Mortgage Matchup Center, downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Toronto and Cleveland in action tonight, as well as the Knicks and Hawks. We already talked about that one. This Raptors team is kind of a head scratcher. They've put up no resistance whatsoever. They were in the game a little bit in game 2, but again, we just talked about it with the Wild earlier. We talked about it with the Sabres. More on that on our social channels today. You cannot dig yourself holes in the postseason against teams with experience, and that is something, joke or not, about James Harden and the makeup of the Cavaliers. That is something this Cavaliers team does have that Toronto doesn't. Colin Murray-Boyles has been really good for them. RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes have been good for him. Brandon Ingram has basically been a non-factor in this series, and that's not a good thing if you're the Raptors.
No, you went out and traded for him last year on purpose, so he needs to be a presence. I think going back home would be good for them. They'll probably steal one of the two at home. But you got another case where you have a team that has very little playoff experience going in and getting baptized by fire by a team that has a lot of playoff experience. So are the Cavs a better team? Probably. They probably are. They're probably going to win the series. But for the Raptors, they need to get out there. They need to get a good start. They need to get the crowd on their side. They need to get Jurassic Park rocking tonight and try and take care of business and get a series win at home.
Looking at numbers on this game, 2.5 points. The Cavs are favored on the road. You're over under 216.5. If you're feeling froggy, the Raptors on the money line plus 130. The final game tonight will be game 3 from Minnesota from the Target Center as Denver and Minnesota clash yet again. Jack Borman on X. Throwing Scott Foster into Wolves Nuggets is like dousing a 5-alarm fire in lighter fluid. It's about right for this matchup between these two.
Love it.
I give Minnesota credit. They flipped the switch I didn't think they were going to be able to flip. They had every reason to put their tail between their legs at the end of the first quarter in game 2. They were able to get it even by halftime, get the victory there. You know, and it's one of those things for the Wolves here when you look at kind of how the first couple of games of the series has gone. They've done a pretty good job they did a pretty good job in game 2 of making the Joker work for everything that he had to. He had a miserable first half from an offensive standpoint. Scoring wise, he's still going to get his rebounds and assists because that's just what he does. But Julius Randle's been very, very good for the Timberwolves, which is nice to see. 28 and 4 in the series. Jaden McDaniels, who had a lot of things to say about the series and the makeup of the Nuggets, and after the second game, they talked to him in the locker room in the post game, and he says, you know, we're going at Jokic, going at Jamal, all the bad defenders, Tim Hardaway, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, their whole team. Question asked back to him, they're all bad defenders? Jaden, yeah, they're all bad defenders. Why do guys still do this shit in the middle of a playoff series? Like, I get that you're going to talk a little junk, and that's fine. It's part of the game, but I think Denver's going to come out, not just because of that. I think Denver's got a sour taste in their mouth for how game 2 ended up. They should be up 2-0 in this series. We know that Nikola Jokic is the principal owner of the Timberwolves. What do you think of Timberwolves Nugs tonight?
I think this is going to be a fantastic matchup. I loved the trade last year when the Knicks traded Julius Randle to the Timberwolves. I thought that was huge for the Wolves. I thought that gave them some size and some grit. And I love Julius Randle as a player. I think he's going to be fantastic. But I'm all for the S talking. I don't know, but yeah, you know that the Wool or the Nuggets are going to put that on their bulletin board. We're all bad defenders, and we're going to see how long that lasts. But yeah, the Timberwolves are that's a team on the upswing. I think Mac has said it before. This is a team that I would not want to play if I'm the Nuggets, and it's I don't know what to do with this game because I really want to bet on it, and I don't know what to do.
Go with the Nuggets. That switch was only partially flipped
Well, if
until
they're
I
bad,
see an intensity level from Minnesota better than how they opened game 2. I still don't believe.
if they're bad defenders, I should probably just take the over. It's 232.5.
The over in a Timberwolves Nuggets game is always a safe place. Let's get into some hockey. Sidney Crosby called the second period of the Penguins' Game 3 loss to the Flyers a, quote, circus. Brian Rust likened it to a WWE match. The game turned into a bit of a WWE match in the second period. Rust said they fed off of that. They were able to capitalize. There was 15:27 left in the second period with the Penguins leading 1-0. And it was really kind of the first time in this series that it's lived up to what a lot of people expected about it. Konecny elbows Rust near the Penguins' goal cage. Rust took him to the ice, began just bashing Konecny's head into the ice. We saw the scenes last night. I've never seen a full standing room only penalty box jumping for joy when there was a goal hit by their team, which happened last night for the Flyers. They get the goal from Tippett and they take a 3-0 series lead.
Yeah, this it could be. I did not expect the Penguins to go down 0-3. I did not expect them to just be completely overmatched physically by the Flyers. It's been very impressive to see Rick Tockett's team perform. They went on that run towards the end of the season to get in, and now they're just. It's like all bets are off right now. I love the play of Porter Mortone right now. He came up and it was like, oh, well, we'll give this guy, his college season's over. We'll give this guy a cup of coffee and then, he'll watch from the press box. Dude, this guy is playing top line minutes and he's played about a grand total of 12 games in the NHL. This guy is going to be a superstar. So I don't know. I expect them to finish off the sweep. I really do. They looked like the better team here.
Yeah, and for Pittsburgh, man, it's their power play has just been non-existent in this series, brutal. And it's killing them.
Just brutal.
So I don't have a whole lot of faith based on what I've seen there. I mean, Pittsburgh's got a lot of veterans. They know how to get out of holes, but and this is an excellent point by Billy V here. That's exactly what's happening in this series. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Flyers are younger. They've got a little bit more of an edge to them. They've been all that Pittsburgh can't handle right now at this point. I would not be surprised to see that one end in a sweep, which always does not work out well in that rivalry.
No, and you got to think for the Penguins, like they had the tremendous run this year. I was expecting them to bottom out and finish DFL in the division, and they finished second. But you got to wonder what this means for the veterans, for Letang and Crosby. I'll be honest with you. I don't think if you get swept by the Flyers, I don't think you can go out like that if you're those guys. I think you got to make one more run at it if it's at all feasible.
Yeah, absolutely. We already kind of hit on the Stars Wild game last night in Edmonton. The Ducks, they answered the bell 6-4 with a victory over the Oilers. Connor McDavid sucks. He doesn't have a single point in the series. Absolutely horrible. It's an interesting scenario here. He got some friendly fire, a little bit of an ankle injury, kind of had to tough through that throughout the whole game last night. The Oilers were able to stay in it till late. I got a question for you here, because Connor McDavid is going back to a familiar locale in the first round of the playoffs, Southern California. He's been a non-factor in the series so far. He's a little injured. Is he at the point where he's tasting his own blood right here and he's coming for blood in game number 3?
I don't think any team, if you have Connor McDavid on your team, it's not a matter of if, it's when. The Ducks were very fortunate last night to keep him off the score sheet again, but this time they got a victory. The Ducks are just going to play loosey goosey. They gave up that fourth goal, which was bad. I thought Dosal should have had it, but it is what it is. But then you saw on the other end when they play loosey goosey on offense, it opens up opportunities, and Gauthier had a nearly wide open cage. But we also need to talk about this defense of the Oilers, which is a very well compensated defense, a very veteran unit, and they are playing absolutely god awful right now. And I don't know what like on the second Gauthier goal, you just see Bouchard flying over trying to, and the dude was so far out of position, it wasn't even a joke. I gotta wonder if the Oilers are getting a little bit of their medicine in that they're playing a team who offensively plays very similar to them, very fast, very loose, and I don't know if they can handle it. Now that being said, we've talked in the past 2 years about how the Oilers, their problem was always with depth. This year, it seems like they've got the depth, but now they're not getting the goaltending again. Is that going to be their doom again?
It's kind of funny how, we talk about this a lot too, like I'll use the Diamondbacks, for example. How does a team consistently, decade after decade, not have a closer and not have a good bullpen? It's like the same thing with the Oilers. You're the Edmonton friggin' Oilers. Why are we still talking about the same damn things here? From a Ducks side of the standpoint, Alex Killorn had a great game last night, 3 points, goal, and 2 assists. Troy Terry's had a great series. Jackson Lacombe has had a great series. You mentioned Cutter Gauthier. Ryan Poling had a goal last night, 2 goals last night. He ended up with the empty netter there. And that's just it's when you go up and down the depth of what Anaheim has to put together here. I'm going down and we're at 4, 6, 8, 10 guys in 2 games that have notched a point for the Ducks, and it just shows the quality of Anaheim's depth and why they were able to get to this position. Tonight we've got Sabres Bruins game 3 from Boston at the TD Garden. Hurricanes and Senators, Avalanche and Kings. What are you watching for tonight? What's of prime importance to you on this evening's slate?
I'm already assuming that the Senators Carolina game is going to go under, but it's going to be tight checking the entire time. Interested, Alex Lyon is expected to start for Buffalo from what I'm reading. So I'm interested to see how the team reacts to a goaltender change, if that indeed comes to fruition. And the Kings have played 2 great games on the road and have nothing to show for it. I think coming back home helps them out a little bit, but they have to respond tonight. They're really close to being out of this series.
Yeah, I've got my eyes on the Kings tonight for the reasons we talked about last night. I mean, if you were to take this in totality of every game that's now been at least 2 games, every series that's been at least 2 games, the Kings have probably played as good a hockey as anybody, and they have nothing to show for it. So, getting a chance to go back home, going back to the crypt tonight, obviously, it's a key game that, we're not saying anything groundbreaking there, but I'm really interested to see if they can scratch one off here, and if that changes the series. I don't think it's going to, but then you've got the Anze Kopitar element. Is he about to play his last 2 games? So I think there's going to be a lot of juice in that building tonight, a lot of energy in that building. I'm really interested to see how that works. We'll have some more thoughts on the Sabres here in just a couple of hours on our social channels at Mike Arana Show. Let's get into the hat trick for tonight, our playoff hat trick. And again, Vegas Mac is the only guy who's notched a goal on this one, so I'll give you his pick first. He's going with Nick Ehlers. What team does Nick Ehlers play for, T?
Go figure. That would be the Carolina Hurricanes.
Shocking development there. What do you got? Who are you looking at to light the lamp tonight?
Well, I'm going back to the crypt tonight, but I'm going to go on the other side. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. It should be very physical. The first 2 games have also been physical, but I'm going for the hat trick tonight. I'm going with Martin Necas of the Avalanche for a goal.
I like it. So Adrian Kempe and Crossing Streams. Martin Nietzsche in our hat trick. There is the official hat trick play boosted today. So a couple extra dollars on there. And as soon as we hit the first hat trick, we up the bet from $1 to $2 and we channel that all the way through. So Alex Tuck is my pick from Buffalo tonight. Dude's had too good of a year. I think a goal from him and a goal early from him, and we talked about Buffalo maybe just being on the road is a good thing for them. So I'm going with Tuck, Ehlers for Mac, and Martin Nietzsche for TJ, boosted to 41.98 there. All right, I wanted to throw this out because we talked about him yesterday. Cool story you shared on one Michael Nelson Trout. His home run yesterday was number 412 in his career. Tied him for 56th all-time on the home run list. Middle infielder, played for the Cubs and the Yankees. Who did he tie at number 56 on the list?
The great Alfonso Soriano.
I was hesitant to give you clues because I figured the clues would give it away, but we don't have a whole lot of time left. So I went through and it was kind of interesting because I wanted to look at the list. He's 2 away from Darrell Evans. Mm-hmm. He's 12 away from Edwin Encarnacion. 13 away from Billy Williams, 14 away from Mike Piazza, 18 away from Cal Ripken. Why did I give you all of those? Because I think he's going to hit 50 home runs this year. If he stays on the field, whatever this moon pod thing that he's using to rehabilitate the body, it's working. Keep doing it.
Oh, yeah, 100% it's working.
So if he gets to 50 exactly, that will make him number 41 all time. He'll pass Carl Yastrzemski. It'll put him 4 home runs behind Giancarlo Stanton. So I went through this list and I was like, all right, where is he gonna finish? Obviously, we know Barry Bonds number 1 at 762, Hank Aaron 755. And I'm looking at this list. I'm like, all right, so if that puts him 41, blah blah. And then I'm looking through some of these names because most of these guys on this list, higher up on this list, at least 16 years. Most of them around 19 to 22 years. And then this one jumped off the page. Tied for 38 with Jose Canseco. Only played 14 years in the bigs. Adam Dunn is 39th all time in career home runs. When you go through this list, you see some names on there and you're like, holy shit, I didn't realize he hit that many home runs. Adam Dunn, folks, 38th on the list, 462 home runs. And he clearly, like Jeff Bagwell, 449, 15 years, but you look through this list, man, and there's some names on here that you completely forget about and how good of a hitter they were for an extended period of their career.
Adam Dunn hit freaking tape measure jobs. I remember that.
Yeah.
But he was also not much for average, if I remember correctly.
237.
So, I mean, I think the Angels are if they can get a 140 games out of Trout this year, that's going to be fantastic. That's a win for them. And if he can get 40 jacks, that'll be awesome. But that's a very impressive list. I think he ends up, if he stays healthy, I think he ends up in the 530, 540 range.
540 would put him 18th all time, one behind Big Papi, and he would pass Mickey Mantle if he got to the 540 mark there. What do you got for me? Any final words on your go-home show of the week? Lunchtime Live tomorrow, 11:30. We'll take you through, set the table, recap what we saw tonight. We've got Dollar Dingers tomorrow, another hat trick tomorrow. What do you got for me?
I'm just excited for this weekend of hockey. I'm probably going to put a shift in on the couch on Sunday and just get greased and just a feed bag and the whole 9 yards and just kick the kid out of the TV room. And I am just going to watch puck the entire day. But this is a make or break weekend for a lot of teams. So teams like the Ottawa Senators, teams like the LA Kings, they've got to, you got to get a win in game 3. Otherwise it's going to be a waste of 8 days.
I got you something. It's a hitting net. The day is beautiful outside. Go spend Sunday out there and work on pulling the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hear the conversation now. All right, Lunchtime Live tomorrow, 11:30, same time. Plenty of stuff to go over. We'll get through it. We'll post the plays for Crossing Streams and for the hat trick on our social channels More on our social channels tonight. And again, one more time, lunchtime live tomorrow, 11:30. For TJ, for Mac, for everybody behind the scenes, and Mike, you know the drill. We'll talk with you tomorrow.